Our prayer this morning is by my friend and colleague Teresa Cooley. And as we read her beautiful words, if you could also send your prayers to her as she's recovering from spinal surgery. In this time of anticipated spring, let us allow ourselves to extend the anticipation, to value the time of budding before blooming, of seeding before sprouting. This is a time of revelation, the revealing of that which is eternal, which we see every year, but still need to be reminded to see in a new way. There is also the revelation of that which is new. Every spring we encounter something never seen before. It is that very newness which embodies hope and potential for the wholeness which is yet to be. Let us allow spring to unfold slowly, that we may appreciate the true mystery of rebirth and renewal. Amen. Our reading this morning is by Sarah Getty, entitled Spring Cleaning. Open the house. Let the sun roar in and corner the huddling dust. Let the March wind tear down cobwebs, sweep out crayon and cookie crumbs, Christmas needles, smells of vapor rub and smoke. In the brisk new daylight, get things straight. Clean the hall closet. Organize your desk. Go through your wardrobe, your game plan, your old loves. Sort, evaluate, throw things away. Remove the victims of winter's grudge, littering the yard like a battlefield. Haul away the big black branch that's lurked there like a beached squid since January. Lop off its limbs and stack them. Rake slimy leaf rot off the tulip beds. Let clean heat reach the bulbs. Root out the old hurts, the cozy unsuccesses. Forget that your sister wasn't at your wedding, that your father didn't seem to like you much. Get rid of the birthday party no one came to, and the men who never asked you out again. Bundle the demeaning medical procedures and leave them at the curb. Pile up the lost job, the student evaluations, the ideas of what your in-laws should be like. Burn them. Burn the time your 6-year-old came home from school and you weren't there. Burn the anniversary evening that wasn't fun. Burn the bad poems and the rejection slips. Be ruthless as March. Be a lion. Under the clean-limbed trees, be fierce and neat. Hunt out the beasties that fatten in the dark. Let the sun scour. Let the wind prowl and pounce. Thank you. They say that March comes in like a lion and out like a lamb. And that is certainly true for us this month. We've seen the lion, that's for sure. But I know some of us are having doubts about the lamb part. Some of us are doubting that spring is on its way. It's supposed to arrive on Tuesday, 2 days from now, but we're also supposed to get some more snow on Wednesday. So I think the lion and the lamb are duking it out somewhere. But every year at this time, just about when I am really doubting that spring will ever come, there start to be these little signs that I see that renew my hope. And I've seen a few of these signs lately, mostly in the grocery stores, but also in my own front yard. And so this week I've been gathering these things to bring to you so that you too can begin to dream of springtime and have a little bit more faith that it is truly on its way. Some hyacinths. My mom bought me these. They were growing in a pot, but I cut them off to bring them in today, and I'm going to plant the bulbs in my yard so that they will come up next spring. I love that my yard is like a blooming scrapbook with more hyacinths each year reminding me of years past. Grape hyacinths. These are some of my absolute favorites. And soon these will be coming up in my grass as tiny harbingers of spring. But for now, this jaunty little spring box, this box full, will have to do. Tulips. I love wondering what color these are going to be before they open. Now I can see that these are going to be yellow, which is one of my favorite colors, but when I bought them just a few days ago, they were so tightly curled up in their buds that I couldn't tell. I'm so pleased that they're going to be yellow. Almond branches. I thought they were cherry branches. They're almond branches, and they come from Oregon. And my heart simply danced when I saw these at Ring Brothers in Dennis, and I simply had to splurge. I once led a whole springtime meditation service based on a branch with cherry blossoms on it. And I am reminded that in Japanese there is a word that means to look at cherry blossoms. And I really do think that this act of appreciation does deserve its own word. Lilac branches. These come from my yard in Wellfleet, and I have been keeping them by the fire inside for a few days. In that warmth, they have opened up just a tiny bit more than their sisters and brothers outside. They are leading the way. So, my friends, spring is on its way. And I invite you to start dreaming about it with me. I just sent in my check for my community garden plot in Wellfleet, and I am starting to dream about what I am going to plant there just as soon as it is warm enough to spend some time outside. A few weeks ago, my friend Tracy filled this pulpit and talked about seed catalogs and what a hopeful time of year this is as gardeners order seeds for spring and summer gardens. She talked about how we sow seeds in the world through our justice work, and how hope is the ingredient which makes those seeds grow. Some of you shared a few words about a seed of hope that you have sown recently. This morning, I want to take up that theme again of seeds and seedlings and hope. But rather than thinking about the seeds we are sowing in the world, today I want us to think about the delicate little seedlings that are just beginning to take root within ourselves. I am intrigued by that seedling stage. It comes just after the seed has been planted, just before it has really rooted. It's a delicate stage when the conditions need to be just right. Enough water, enough light, enough warmth. Just a little shoot of green peeking out of the dry seed. You can hardly tell what it's going to be when it grows up. But there's life in there. And it is stretching, reaching for the light, growing. Some days you can almost see it growing in front of your eyes. But it could also die if you stop paying attention at this delicate seedling stage. So a few weeks ago, you were asked to think about what seeds you were sowing in the world. And this morning, I ask you to think about what seedlings you are nurturing within yourself. And I'm not going to ask you to share them with us today, because I know that they are still in the seedling stage, and they are delicate. And you might not even be able to speak about them out loud yet. They're just beginning to break through into your consciousness, into your heart, into your life. Maybe it is a newborn hope that you are beginning to have, or a goal that you are considering setting. Maybe it is a quality that you are beginning to nurture within yourself. Maybe it is a very new sobriety or a new relationship. Maybe your seedling is an emerging confidence or a new curiosity that you are getting ready to explore. Only you know what those seedlings are inside of you, because they have not yet pushed themselves through that soil and into the light. This is a delicate stage. And as good gardeners, we know that we must tend to our seedlings. We have to give those fledgling hopes the right amount of water and light and care. We have to tend to them. What special care do you need to give to the hope just beginning to grow within you? Do you need time alone? The support of community? Do you need hours of practice or chunks of time devoted to growing your hope? Do you need to water it with healing tears? Do you need to be a little more gentle with yourself? Do you need some external reassurance? Do you need a deepened spiritual practice or more books to read for information? Do you need to fertilize your hope with resources? Do you need to surround yourself with people who will help to nurture your seedling as it grows? Do you need to voice your new truth aloud? Do you need to be more honest with yourself about what is beginning to grow within you? Maybe you need to dust out the cobwebs and burn some old grudges to give your seedling room to grow. Maybe you need to be brutal, like March, and clean house. Root out the old hurts so that your new hope has room to take root itself in fresh, newly turned soil. I've shared with you before one of my very favorite readings by Elizabeth Tarbox called The Teaching Bean. When I was a child, my stepmother gave me and my sister each a lima bean, Elizabeth wrote. She showed us how to dampen some blotting paper and line a jam jar with it, and how to place the bean carefully between the blotting paper and the jar. She told us to stand the jars on the windowsill in our bedroom and keep the blotting paper wet and watch to see what would happen. A little later, Elizabeth said, I took my bean out and I polished it up with a bit of furniture polish. It was all shiny now and smelled much better than my sister's bean. In a few days, my sister's bean swelled and a strong white root pushed out of the bottom of the bean. My bean just sat there. A week later, my sister's bean sprouted a green shoot that forced its way up and out of the top of the jar. My bean did nothing, but began to look wrinkly. In another week, my sister's jar was full of roots and shoots, and the bean was ready to be planted. My bean shriveled up and fell to the bottom of the jar, and I threw it away. How often have I covered things with furniture polish to make them shiny, to make them smell better, Elizabeth wondered. How often in my life have I cared more about the way things looked and how they smelled rather than how they really were? I spent half a lifetime covering my feelings with the emotional equivalent of furniture polish, thinking that if I looked good and smelled good, the ache inside would go away. But spirits are not like beans, thank God, she said. They may shrivel with neglect, but as long as life persists, there is a chance to wash off the polish and redeem the growing thing inside. Today, I invite you to redeem and nurture the growing thing inside your spirit. I invite you to imagine that spring is actually on its way. It is on its way to you right now. And that soon enough, we will be surrounded by lovely growing things, blossoming branches, and beautiful tulips. And that within you, your small hope will begin to strengthen and grow, will break through to the light, and then blossom and even bear fruit. Over the next few weeks, as we wait for those outward signs of spring, I invite you to nurture the seedlings within you. Spend time on them and give them the tender care they need. Try not to polish them up so that they will look good. Try not to worry what other people might think of them. Just give them that time and attention, that gentle care, that unconditional love that they need to grow stronger within you. Hope can sometimes be a dreamy sort of thing, Tracy reminded us, a kicked-back fantasizing exercise. And that can be fun, she said, to ponder the what-ifs and hope they might come to pass. But gardening, she said, is an active kind of hoping that we engage with body and soul. So this morning I invite you to engage both body and soul in this idea of planting and sprouting and caring for what is growing. I invite you to join my friend Jean Horner downstairs on the stage during coffee hour for some seed planting. And we're ending just a few minutes early so that you have time for this and still get to the Social Action Committee meeting. So think of this activity as an extension of worship. For those of you who don't know Jean, she is a local gardener with tons of knowledge about seeds and gardens, and she attends our Monday evening meditation sessions and our Thursday yoga classes. She helped us clean up after the storm. She's a wealth of knowledge, and she also has all of the materials that you will need to plant some seeds and bring them home to grow on your windowsills. And we can leave some here to grow on our windowsills at the meeting house. And some of them will make it, and some of them will not, and that's okay. Because remember, spirits are not like beans. Thank God. They may shrivel with neglect, but as long as life persists, there is the chance to wash off the polish and redeem the growing thing inside. May it be so for each of us. Amen, and blessed be.